Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you're having a fantastic morning. My name is Sebastian Tupi. I have the pleasure of being your moderator for today. Welcome to the Deep Tech Lounge here at Startup Day 2025. I'm very excited for the program that I have for you today and very grateful to be working with EIS again on bringing you a lot of very interesting topics during Startup Day 2025. So the lounge is home to a wealth of expertise. And I would like to talk to you a little bit about some of the topics that EIS can be helping you with and all of the things that we're going to be talking about here over the next couple of days. So what can you expect and what can Enterprise Estonia actually help you with? So startup ecosystem, support organization services, information about hiring, relocating, attracting international talents. We have a very exciting 360 stage, so I get to take a look at all of you as well. We'll talk about R&D partners as well across Estonia and the EU. We'll talk about providing valuable tips about developing IP and strategy. And then we can also expect Enterprise Estonia to be a partner in innovation and applied research. So don't miss the opportunity to gain insights from all of the speakers that will be with us today and tomorrow. A few other extra things I want to mention before introducing our first moderator and speakers of the day. We have the opportunity to ask questions. So we have Slido. You can see a QR code over there on the screen, over here as well. So you can ask all of your questions to our speakers directly through Slido. You can scan the QR code, ask your questions. The moderators will see it on the iPad and will be able to ask the speakers directly. So feel free to interact, ask your questions. You can always grab speakers at the end of the stage as well. Each session is going to be more or less 20 minutes long. And then after that, if you have additional questions, then feel free to grab our experts and then asking them all of your questions there directly. If you have any questions for me or for the Enterprise Estonia team, it's going to be gravitating around the stage for the next 2 days. So even when the sessions are not on, feel free to come in and ask for one of the Enterprise Estonia team members, and they will be able to guide you. That's kind of the main point of them being here today. Now, all of our little sessions are recorded, so it is kind of a podcasting stage as well as being kind of one of the key stages of Startup Day. So you will be able to listen to those insights later on as well that will be posted on Enterprise Estonia's social channels. Now, without further ado, I would like to welcome our first moderator of the day, who will be introducing the panelists. Please welcome Tiiu Treier, Head of International Cooperation and Funding Office at Enterprise Estonia.
Hello, thank you for our introduction, and happy to have you here. This is the first session of today. Happy to see so familiar faces around. But yes, today the first session, and we are talking about how we present our R&D projects. So yes, it does happen that quite often that if you want to fund your R&D project, then you have to rely on grants. And quite often these are difficult things to do. So I have today two gentlemen with me who will start discussing it with me on this topic. So please join me on the stage, Jens Peter and Kalev. So we'll sit down and I will introduce you a bit further. But yes, Kalev Koppel is a CEO of R&D intensive company called STARTUp. It's machine learning and data science company, and it has been growing out of a governmentally supported competence center. So this is a really, actually really cool thing to do, to grow a company out of something that was mainly supported by government grants. Jens Peter Vittrup is a dear colleague from international side. So Jens Peter is a consultant and a partner in a company called Edberg Vittrup. And he has been sitting both sides of the table. So yes, one of the sides of the table is being at the governmental official like me, designing all the R&D projects, or not projects, but programs, international R&D programs. And now he's being a consultant sitting next to another side of the table and helping companies to succeed in applying these projects. So if you don't mind, then I will start with you, Kalev. That, as I mentioned before, mainly governmentally supported company. And now you are quite successful machine learning data science company. How is it nowadays? How much do you need R&D grants? How much do you use R&D grants nowadays?
Yeah, it's correct that we started as a totally R&D organization. The founders were two biggest universities of Estonia, and we had this very long grant supported by Enterprise Estonia, and now we made exit 1 year ago out of it, and gradually established our own business activities in parallel to that period, and now we are totally actually independent on directly independent on this governmental support. Still, our customers are still getting heavily R&D money, fundings, grants, and we help them to get it. So, yeah.
So it's quite often that you are on this side of the table that you have to apply grants with your customers, or you have yourself some kind of development that you do in-house that needs to get some kind of funding outside of the organization.
Exactly, we are very often innovation partner for our customers. These customers, a big deal of them are startup companies, and we are also helping to write them R&D proposals.
Okay. Jens-Peter, I now turn to you. As I mentioned before, that you also have different kind of experiences, designing the R&D programs and writing now the proposals to be successful. Can you share your point of view, what brings success to that in that kind of... It's an easy question, Jens-Peter, easy question. So what brings success when you're writing an R&D project?
A simple question, a very complicated answer, I guess. But I think the key to whatever you're doing is to have a very clear idea in what you want to do. In one of the programs I have been managing, Eurostars, there are 3 pitch questions you have to answer. The first one is, what do you want to do? You have 100 words to answer that question only. It sounds so simple. It is very, very difficult to be clear in 100 words and then a 50-page application afterwards. The second question they ask is, how would you want to do it? Meaning that how would you bring that idea into life with the right partners, obviously, and what's in it for the other partners as well. It's collaborative projects. The third pitch question is, how would you make money? Each of these questions entails a whole storyboard on a lot of different issues. And it's very hard, but if you get these 3 questions right, you would have the attention of those reading the applications, and you will have cleared your mind, so it's much easier to write the application. Actually also to work with the idea afterwards. Very simple.
Kalev, do you agree, or you have something to add that if you write successful, I guess you are also failed, but we will talk about the failure afterwards. But if you think about these projects that have been successful, what has been the components of it? What brings success?
Clarity brings success, I think, and the short answer is that all your application, starting from the business plan or impact, to the methodology or approach, to the activity plan, it has to be aligned, and there should be a certain backbone or axis that you follow, and don't drift away from there, because the clarity is, I think, the most important thing. And the other thing is, where we have also made mistakes, is that your language has to be very clear and simple. Very complicated scientific articles, their language is very simple. And if you can't express complicated concepts of things in a simple language, then you risk that, I think it's a symptom that you don't understand actually what you are saying. This is this Feynman's principle that you should be able to express the concept of quantum physics to the average people from the street or for children, etc. Yeah.
What I didn't mention before is that you also have an experience of being evaluator with even large projects with Horizon Europe projects. So based on experience on that, what are the main pitfalls you see that the other one or the companies usually do? I have the same question to you, Jens Peter, but Kalev, maybe you can share your experience where usually, averagely, companies fail in these projects.
Yeah, it was some times ago when I was evaluator on Horizon 2020, one of these ICT goals in the industry, and but I remember what I learned from there is that very polished proposals didn't get funded, and this coordinator of this goal said that there was one proposal which was different. It was not written in, I don't know, polished or in a rounded language. But he said, I know the team is very strong, they have good track record, and I believe that they are really doing what they are saying. And another, my personal experience was with one of these consultancy companies which helped you basically like shape or edit the proposal, and I was disappointed. I was not satisfied, and one of my good advisors, professor of Tartu University Varloon, Tomas, said to me that you can't subcontract or outsource thinking. You need to think yourself. Everything must be under your control there. You can't outsource it.
I guess this is something that we talked briefly before we stepped on the stage. So Jens Peter, I can see that you are agreeing on that you cannot outsource thinking. So how do you help the companies and where do you see the main pitfalls?
Well, when I was working in Innovation Fund Denmark, I was also evaluating applications for a national program, a big one called Grant Solutions. Over the years I worked there, I evaluated some 800 projects, so I'm also a seasoned reader. I think some of the pitfalls, apart for the clarity, and as I said, they make things simple so even I can understand what I read. And if I couldn't, then probably it was not that good. But another very important thing is that you tend to say, I'll be much better and do things better or whatever aspect, but you do not qualify what that actually means. In particular in work packages, you need to say, I would aim for a very specific quantity or description of what you want to do. Then you can always pass that point, or you can explain why you didn't meet it. But if you don't have ambitions, clear ambitions, set your ambitions before you start working, you'll never achieve, because you'll always be better. And what is better than what you did yesterday? That's very little, perhaps. So if you want to explain yourself to others, then be accurate. It would help you immensely in the project afterwards. The other thing about having external help, I think actually most people who have been working with the bigger projects, collaborative projects, they need sparring partners in the process for making an application. Be that an external consultant or your wife or husband back home, but you need to have somebody qualified who can ask you these stupid questions. What do you actually mean here? A good consultant, I think, would never write an application for anyone, because you cannot. The ideas come from those in the project, and they have to live with it afterwards. So that's a part of the answer. You have to be in control of the project. The consultants should help you, reminding you all the rules and all the stupid questions you tend to forget in the application form, which you start writing, you forget what it was the question were, and come up with an answer which actually didn't fit with the question. So the consultant should be the one stepping step behind and advising you on keeping in line, and sometimes smoothing out the sentences. If it's a cooperative project, and very often in Horizon it is, the consultant should also be the one who force people to participate in the process of writing the project. not writing it for them, but making them turn out up to the meetings or Teams meetings, giving the answers on what's the expected impact from you. A good consultant would never construct that themselves. Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to say that don't expect the consultant to think for you, but to help you smoothly through the process, coordinate the process, and this is a good consultant who can facilitate all this and has a good idea about the quality of the proposal. This is the expertise of consultants, and you shouldn't expect more.
Yes, but yes, the important part of the consultants, for me it's clear, but you also get feedback from other ways. For example, if you fail. So it's quite normal to fail. We again managed to discuss it before we reach the stage, but it's quite usual that you fail first time. And then you usually get the feedback from the evaluators. So what do you do? First of all, how do you handle that failure? What do you do? Will you go to in the corner, start crying? Or how do you handle it? And second of all, what do you do with the feedback what the evaluators gave you? Kalev, maybe you can start.
Yeah, we have failed a lot. It's a very competitive world. Everybody wants to how you are different or how you can make better. But when you get the negative feedback, you will go and cry a little bit. But what I've seen is that successful companies, they after crying, they stand up and they reiterate, address the feedback, improve the application, and submit it again. And we have many cases which got funded in the second round and at least one at the third round. And even I've been surprised that they have this stubbornness to do this. I about to give up, but the lesson here is that never give up. Improve your application, consult the funder, and some comments are really sometimes they have been mistaken because they didn't understand. But again, you maybe have problem with your communication, how you express all these ideas and concepts. You are probably too complex in your application and they didn't understand. But it's not their problem, it's your problem.
Yeah. So Jens Peter, how do you handle with...
Well, my advice is that you spend a few days cursing the ones who evaluated the project, because that will settle your mind. And then I think you should see, usually you get 3 peer reviews, or 2 or 3 or 4 perhaps. Then you should go for the one most critical. Always the most critical answer across, because that's where you learn. And you have to convince the most critical one or those who do not understand what it is. I would also say that if you have 3 negative answers from evaluators, you should probably consider whether that's a program for you or whether your company is mature to enter that program, because sometimes they are right. But if you have 2 peers who are just exhilarating, happy with the application, and one obviously have misunderstood something or are very critical to something, then you should definitely go for it again. How many times you should go for it again, that depends on your idea and the innovation and what's happened in society. Sometimes you fail the moment and then you have to push on. But go for the most critical, read it, and then what I usually do is I put it up in a spreadsheet and say question 1, what did peer 1, what did peer 2, what did peer 3 see? And then you'll find common denominators perhaps, or most critical, and then go to the application. And then you fix it if there is something to fix, but you shouldn't fix, if it's not broken, don't fix it. That's also a very good. If you have 3 straight A's, you don't have to fix that question.
Okay, and my last question is, as we are running out of time, but as a fan of international collaboration anyway, including partners in your project, what would be some advice on that? Quite often, if you do an R&D project, that means that you don't have all the knowledge in-house, so you have to include somebody. So what are the common mistakes on that, and how to handle a project with outside partners? Kalev, maybe you can start.
International cooperation, we are happy to have 2 Horizon 2020 projects. I think this is about the roles of the partners. There are a set of rules of a geographical principle and etc. how to choose the partners, and they have different roles. Like you need to have good balance between technological partners, like end user partners, or who will kind of will start using this application, or use case providers, how they say this, and I think maybe the best idea that this leading partner has the biggest ownership there, and the leading partner actually should be, in my opinion at least, this use case provider, because this partner has the pain, and they should control the process and lead actually the other partners, I say technology providers or R&D companies or universities. Yeah.
I think I agree. Take leadership if you're the main partner in the project. That's important. But cooperation is also very important. They are not there for you. You are there, all of you, for each other. And I think it's very much a matter of to give in order to gain. You should, when you construct a project, you should see that there must be something in it for all partners, because that's what the evaluator look at. They don't give money to one company. They give money to the consortia. If it's universities and they don't get the profit, then they must be clear that they want to make papers, a number of papers in recognized magazines, or courses, or PhDs, or whatever it is, because that's their quality. It's not money, but it's knowledge. And that should be clearly stipulated in the application. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining me for this discussion. End of our short intervention here. I would like to invite everybody here who are listening. We are going to continue with this topic at seminar room 3 at 12 o'clock, Collaborate or Die session. But really much appreciate that you came here and shared your expertise. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tiiu.